Hello, James here, and we're off to Hyundai DSG in Morecambe to see Will Adams. And the reason for that is when I picked the car up on the driver's door, there was a tiny dent, so we got that noted, and that's going to be panel beated back out again today, or popped back out. And also I ordered some rear accessory lights, LED lights for the boot. I've already got the footwell one installed, and we're going to get the boot one installed as well. So it's a very sunny day today, a very sunny and cold day here in Scotland, and it's currently 1 degree centigrade. And we're heading down to the Ionity charger. I started off the car at 66% charge, and we're currently down to 42%. So I've got my Hyundai charge card here. So I'm currently charging here at the Ionity, and we're getting 64 kilowatts, and it says it's going to take 30 minutes. I think the battery's a little bit cold at the moment, so it's heating up. It's still at 11 degrees, 11 degrees on the pack, and it's warming up. And we've got a range of 45 miles currently. We're going to try and hit that to about 200 miles, I think, or at least charge to 80%. So finally, it's ramped up at 41% to 106 kilowatts, and the battery temperature maximum is 26 degrees. The modules are between 16 and 18, so hopefully once that reaches past 20 degrees, it should speed up again, hopefully. So we currently have 39 kilowatt hours of energy at 70%, and we're pulling at 124 kilowatts in charge speed. Current time is 27 minutes here. So while we wait for the last 5 minutes, might as well have a little walk around the car. So as I was busy filming the car, the charge is down to 70 kilowatts. We've got 196 miles on the clock, so I think we're ready to head off now. The battery temperature, lowest, minimum and maximum is 31 and 36. So it's about 36 degrees on the temperature battery. And if you look at the modules, it's between 31 and 36 also. So that kind of coincides with the minimum and maximum battery temperature. So the car's nice and toasty. Hopefully it will stay warm by the time we get back up here after we drop the car off at Hyundai DSG. As well as car scanner on my Android phone to check the battery temperature of the pack of the Hyundai IONIQ 5. I've also got EV Notify installed, and that in turn is linked to a better route planner, and that allows me to use that on Android Auto, as I've got a premium account at the moment. It's on a 30-day trial, so I'm going to test it out, see if it's worth having. And as you can see, it's saying that we are currently at 69% on the battery, and we should make it to Hyundai DSG in Morecambe with 45% left. That should be just enough, because when we were at Ionity we were at 86, so half of that's 43. So as long as we get above 43% when we reach there, we should be okay. It's just dropped down to estimated 44% when we reach there, so it looks like we might need a little top up at Morecambe. What's happened now is we're at some roadworks and we're in a 50 zone, and the car seems to know that we are in this roadwork or currently coming up to a roadwork. So where it was set to 70 miles an hour, it's automatically reduced me down to 50. So cruise control is saying, oh yeah, you're in a 50 zone because there's roadworks. But we're still in the roadworks, and it's just switched from 50 to 70. So it thinks we've actually exited the roadworks. So I'm not sure how it updates that information. It's kind of a bit worrying. Well, I was just jump back down to 50 again. I'm not sure if it reads the speed limit signs. So I've had this before where it was a 50 zone, and then all of a sudden the car thinks I should be doing 70 miles an hour and flicks back to 70 miles an hour on the adaptive cruise control and basically launched the car forward. That was a bit worrying, seeing that that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I had to slow it back down to 50 again, and then it launched off again. And what I found is, if you look at the adaptive cruise control, there's a 50 miles an hour here in green. So if I drop that down by 1 mile, if I drop that by 1 mile an hour, you see it goes black. That means it's not actually using the adaptive cruise control speed limiter, so it doesn't fluctuate between the different speeds, and it won't alter your speed in that sense. So if I switch it to 50, it goes to nav, and if I come off it, the nav goes off color, so it's come back on again. So hopefully once we head out of this, we should see that switching, and you should see it launching me up to 70 miles an hour. Right, so now we're out of the zone. Going to pull out. See, yep, so it's decided to take me up to 70 miles an hour, and it's slowly taking off. I think it's got used to my eco driving, so it's quite gentle this time. I think the first time it just launched me. I think it's just on default mode. I've actually set it to adapt to my driving style, and obviously the last driving style I was doing was that eco test run that I was doing. So that's quite a nice gentle acceleration up to 70 miles an hour. That's the adaptive cruise control system in action on roadworks. It's not ideal. It seems a little bit flaky, especially when it's trying to accelerate you up to speed when it shouldn't be. But the one advantage of the system is if there is speed cameras that will actually slow your car down to match the speed of the road or where the camera is. So that's one advantage of having the system on. So we're here at Hyundai DSG, and we've covered 163.6 miles, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, and it took us 3 hours 17 minutes. Overall we were covering probably 70 miles an hour on the motorway and about 40-50 miles an hour on the A roads at the start of the day, and the current battery is at 52%. If we go to the metric system, we'll see we've covered 263 kilometers, and consumption is 21.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And yeah, basically temperature wise it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and centigrade it's 10 degrees centigrade, so it's slowly warming up. And overall it's been a pleasant drive. 70 miles an hour actually seems quite slow in such a big car. I've also got car scanner on here working as well. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot, and you'll see that the temperature has actually dropped down a bit since we drove, so the car's cooled down a little bit. So I'm just going to charge up here, actually plug it in just for a quick top up. Don't think I'll get that much juice into the car, but we might as well plug it in for a little bit, see what we get up to. So the car has had 2 updates, one for the warning light issues and one for the rear motor. This is done via diagnostic, so it's not a USB pen that's updating the infotainment system. It's part of the dealer's updates, so you have to go to a dealer to get this done. I've just had it done, and it's made my efficiency worse. Well, actually, it's not really. It's just reset the miles per kilowatt hour on my accumulative trip measurements. So we're at 0.0 miles per kilowatt hour. So yeah, so we're going to be restarting that. It was 2.9 anyway before, so it's not, I'm sure it won't be that far off once we start moving again. So we have a bit of route planner laid for Perth Ionity, and we're heading over to Gretna Green because that's one of the charge points. We should get there and we should be down to about 27%. We're currently at 69. So on here it says 69%. And on a better route planner it tells me I'm on 69%, and when I get to Gretna Green I should be down to 27%. I'm not too sure if I'll use that amount of consumption, but I think I will. And also up here, it shows you the number of stalls that are there. So there's 4 chargers there, and there's 2 green, which means they're not in use, and 2 red, which means they are in use. So there's 2 free chargers currently at the moment. So it gives you a better idea of if you're going to be able to get a charge or not before you even reach the point, because it's all live data attached to the Ionity chargers. And with the better route planner, this actually works with some of the other networks as well. Okay, so a few miles on now, and it's saying that 3 of the 4 stalls are being in use. So it's going to be pretty busy. It's kind of getting to that time of day when people are leaving for work. We'll get a little bit more of an update on what's being used with the update from a better route planner. And like I said, this is one of the nice features of it. If you don't pay the premium to have it on Android Auto, it still works on your phone. You can still see it, as you can see here. The bad news is all the Ionity units have been used up at the moment. So if I get there now, they won't get a charge. The good news is I've got 42 minutes to get there. So hopefully by that point, some of the other cars would have shifted, and fingers crossed there's not a queue. And it read the 50 sign. I had to chat with Will. He reckons it reads the 50 sign, and it looks like it does. Activates at the point that you pass it, just like when we came down this morning. The only issue is if it doesn't get these 50 signs after a certain distance, it seems like it kicks back into the national speed limit, which kind of makes sense. So if they're not having them in regular intervals, then that is definitely an issue. 50 sign on my left. Oh, it's going 70. There's a 50. Oh, yeah, it's just been told off. 50. That's not regulation distance between the 50 signs. That was like, was that about 20 meters off from regulation distances? National speed limit sign, end. Can you read it? 70. Done. Job done. Well done, car. And while we're figuring out the adaptive cruise variable speed assist, I think I just made that up, might not be called that, but it is a variable speed assist, I suppose. And since we're messing with that, the Ionity, one of them's free out of the 4 stalls. So we're back in business. So we've got the charger going at the moment, and again, for some reason, it's only pulling 68 kilowatts. Porsche's pulling 145. It's definitely, pack's definitely too cold again. It wasn't as low before, so it should warm up pretty quickly this time round. Seems to fluctuate a lot on these chargers, which makes me think it's, oh what, it's doing 170. It's just bizarre. It just fluctuates so wildly at the moment, from 90 to 170 kilowatts of charge speed, and it's dropped all the way down to 30. Right, because the charging speeds dropped all the way down to 27 kilowatts, I don't think it's going to get any quicker. It's been like this for the last few minutes. So I'm just going to stop the charge now. We've pulled 36 kilowatt hours of energy. So we just left the Gretna Ionity, and I have a feeling that it doesn't like the IONIQ 5. It was really fluctuating on the charging. At one point I got to about 170 kilowatts, and then it dropped all the way down to 90 or so, and then back up again. It's all a little bit weird, and I don't think it's supposed to do that. So I am going to go to the Perth Ionity and check that out. The battery pack is currently at 33 degrees. The modules are between 26 and 32 degrees centigrade. So it's nice and warm. So we've got 130 miles to Perth. So I've got the adaptive cruise control set to 20 miles an hour at the moment, seeing we're stuck in traffic. And I mean, I'm not touching any of the pedals, and we're basically coming to a stop whenever everyone else stops. And then when the car head starts up again, the car kicks in and starts up and follows. And again, it's a very relaxing drive at the moment. I'm just basically a passenger almost. The car just kicked off by itself. I'm not doing anything. My hands is kind of on the wheels just to tell the car that I'm still here. The car steers, accelerates, brakes, stops, takes off, stops, accelerates, steers. I mean, what more do you need? The current battery temperature is 16 to 24 degrees centigrade. And we're basically having trouble heating up the battery. It's all sort of like cooling down to about 22 degrees, 23 degrees on the modules. The battery heating temperature is at 15. I'm not quite sure what the battery inlet temperature is, but that's currently at 46 degrees centigrade. Whatever that is actually doing, I don't know. Seeing that we're in this dark car park, I thought I'll show off the rear boot light that I got installed. Here we go. Makes a lovely halo effect on the floor. And excuse all the garbage. Okay, my coffee is ready. Lid on that. Okay, I think it's time to hit the road. So just went for a quick bathroom break at Motherwell, and to top up on my coffee as well. We're on the M9 to Inverness, and this actually leads to Perth also, and we seem to be in a 70 camera zone, so I suspect this is a Spec camera zone. So the adaptive cruise thing doesn't seem to be on at the moment, but we're inside the zone of the Spec cameras. So it's a 70 mile an hour average zone, and it says it's 1.2 miles on the head-up display. So I wonder, it's actually on the map as well, so maybe that's how long this 70 mile an hour average speed camera zone is. Although it's a bit dark to be able to make out any of the Spec cameras. And I'll see if I can keep an eye out for them. Yep, so it says there, average speed camera zone. So that's what that bling blong is. Bling blong, you're passing a camera. Oh yeah, there's a Spec camera now. We're just flying over it now. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, probably not. That's interesting. No wonder everyone's slowing down. Oh, and the new zone, oh, actually it's where the next average speed camera is located, is in 2.8 miles from here. Because it's an average zone, I don't think it can put on the adaptive speed limit, because that doesn't seem to be active at the moment. So maybe that audio bling blong, that one there. What timing? Yeah, that bling blong seems to be the key to telling you that you're in the zone of the Spec camera. 0.3. Oh, 0.2. 280. 200 yards. 170, 150, 120, 90, 50. We just flew past it. And oh my goodness, there's another one in 4 miles. So we're about 12 miles away from the Ionity charger in Perth, and it's near impossible to keep the temperature up. The battery coolant system seems to be keeping the temperature down to about 20 degrees. The modules are between 11 and 19 degrees. Maximum temperature is 20, minimum's 12. So in theory, we should get a good charge because we're roughly about 20 degrees centigrade on all the modules. And yeah, there's no way I can, I mean, this charge here, we're going to see now, is going to be near enough identical to the second Gretna green charge that I got. So we're about 7 miles now. The battery's down to 16% and the range is down to 30 miles. This is the first time I've actually got the battery this low. I just find it quite difficult to get to a low state of charge. So if you're heading up to the Highlands of Scotland and you happen to pass Perth, I suggest that you take this 350 kilowatt charger that they have here. It's the last one before the great wilderness of the Highlands. We're at the Ionity here in Perth. Now, where did I put my card? Let's have a quick recap of the car. 374.9 miles, 3 miles per kilowatt hour. It's 5 degrees outside, so it's pretty chilly as well. 41 Fahrenheit, covered 603 kilometers, 20.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So far the trip's about 8 hours long. And we go back to miles, it's 5 degrees C. Yep, 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Ooh, you need to be careful, you need to watch out for those bollards actually. So in winter, this car definitely has a slow start when charging. What they really need to do is be able to preheat with the battery heater before you get to a charge point, or somehow know that you're going to a charge point. Or ideally, if they can't do that, then have a button on the infotainment system. Now, what's going to be interesting is if once it's heated up, once it's warmed up, are we going to get 120 kilowatts like we did at Gretna, or are we going to be pulling 220 plus? Right, I'm just going to leave this for a minute and we might as well have a look at the Ionity Perth here and what they've got. So we have these chargers here, 4 of them. They're quite nice actually. They've got some funky lights on them. Not sure if you can see. Mine's is actually slightly green, but I think it's white on screen. And then that one's red for some reason. Don't know if it's because it's not working. Skoda Enyaq over there. That's the Ionity charger. There's an extra space there with nothing. Maybe that's just a waiting space. And over there is Starbucks. So you can grab yourself a coffee. Or in my case, I can just make my own with my funky boot. We're getting somewhere now. 120 kilowatts. Maybe this is to specification. At 25%, 120 kilowatts, low state of charge. I am hoping that it will ramp up more than that now that we've actually got the car down to a low state of charge. Look at those funky lights. There we go. Oh, actually, here we go. It's speeding up. The pack temperature is at 31 degrees. We're pulling 140 kilowatts now. This is more like it. I am hoping to see 220 at some point, even if it's for 10 seconds. So the average speed of module 1 to 4 is about 23 degrees. And the battery temperature max is at 31. Battery heat is at 34 degrees. So it must like to be overall at 34 degrees. And the minimum temperature is 21. So all the packs are starting to warm up now. and we're up to 140 kilowatts. So 145, we've currently claimed 33.5 kilowatt hours of energy. We're at 51%. And it says have we been here for 18 minutes? Is that what it means? I think it means we've been here for 18 minutes. Oh, that's pretty neat. So you can get the voltage and amps as well. So we're getting the full volts. It's just that amps been reduced, I think. Trains. Right, so 6 minutes left to 80%. Oh, 5 minutes left to 80%. I just want to see what it says on this charger. Right, so yeah, so 24 is the time. So been here for 30 minutes, pulled 55 kilowatt hours, and charge speeds dropped down to 73 kilowatts. We're at 82%. I am going to stop this now. Stop. Oh, charge finished. So for the return leg to Livingston, it's 50 miles. We're going to see how long it takes the battery to cool down. I'm going to boot the car because we're at a fairly high temperature at 44 degrees centigrade. Right, let's give it a go. Okay. I don't think we have anything to worry about with the acceleration or the throttling of the accelerator. We seem to be still getting full power. 240 kilowatts of juice through the car there. Right, gonna end the zone coming up. You're gonna give it another kick in sports mode and get up to 70 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1. Go! Yep, 240 kilowatts of speed. Definitely no throttling. The temperature of the pack's dropping already. Let's go back to my normal mode. Ah, yeah, actually, someone's asking me about what happens on regen 0. So I'm on level 0 now. It is not actually regenning into, it's actually using the friction brakes. You see there? So it's actually all friction brake. Now, 70, I'll brake down to 50. There we go. See, so it's just all friction brake. Now we go to level 2 or any other regen level and we brake. You see it's feeding power back into the battery pack. So when I say level 0 is for cleaning out your brakes or cleaning dust out your brakes, if they're squeaking or whatever, that's the way to do it. Yeah, I mean, it has been a long day. I've been up since roughly about 6 o'clock this morning, getting ready, left at 7, driving, then waiting around for all this stuff to be done to the car. So since we left the Ionity charger, it was roughly about 24 miles away. And you can look at the battery temperature. The coolest module is 20 degrees and it goes all the way up to 32 degrees centigrade. And that's the difference between the different packs. And it's definitely cooled all the way down from about 45 degrees maximum in that time. So in reality, it doesn't actually take that much time to cool down. So we're back in Livingston now, and my conclusion for the drive today is that it was actually quite easy to do. 425 miles of driving today, averaging 3 miles per kilowatt hour if we kept a constant 70 and didn't do those acceleration tests before. So this car can do 70 miles an hour, 3 miles per kilowatt hour, all day long on the motorway, and it just has no issues with that at all. Charging is a different story. I was expecting 220 kilowatt charging speeds and we managed 147, which isn't really a big deal on the whole scheme of things because each charger was roughly about 10 minutes of extra time. So you talk about half an hour for the 3 charges that we did today. and also with the overheating of the battery that people have concerns with. Once you get to 80%, the way they've done the Ionity, they seem to be able to reach the next one with from 80% down to about 10%, like what we did from Gretna up to Perth. And if we look at the battery pack now, we are currently at 19 to 27 degrees C, and we still got 120 miles of range, and that is roughly the distance of getting back down to Gretna. And by that point, we've already seen it, the battery pack is going to get down to about 18 to 20 degrees in this weather at 5 degrees centigrade, or currently now it's 7 degrees centigrade. So am I worried about it being slower? Well, not really. I still had to stop at Hamilton for a break there to basically use the facilities and to show off the lights on the boot and to make myself a coffee while I was there. So what other EV can you say that even if you don't get the full charging speed out of it, and to cover 425 miles, and I still feel actually quite refreshed and not fatigued at all with the drive, just because all the driving assist. And on top of that, it had made me 2 cups of coffee today, and it was 2 absolutely great cups of coffee, which kept me going without me faffing around, going into the service station, waiting in queue, getting the coffee, wasting more time. I mean, yeah, I think it's absolutely a fine car for long journeys, and if I was to take this to the north of France for our holidays, I think I would like to drive it even further and maybe go to the south of France or head towards Italy, because this car will do it. There's no issue with it doing that sort of range. It will get you 70 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour per kilowatt hour all day long, no questions asked.